Hello and welcome to Talk Vietnam. Today we are exploring an exciting new culinary phenomenon that's redefining Vietnamese cuisine in New York City. At the forefront of this movement is Ăn Cỗ, an innovative pop-up dinner series that's bringing authentic and lesser-known Vietnamese dishes to discerning New York diners. More than just a meal, it's a cultural journey through Vietnam's diverse regions, showcasing rare ingredients and traditional cooking techniques. Founded by Thu Phạm Boozer, a talented food stylist and chef, Ăn Cỗ has quickly gained recognition for its meticulous attention to details and commitment to authenticity. Joining us today are the creative minds behind Ăn Cỗ, Thu Phạm Boozer and her partner, Taylor Boozer. Welcome both of you to Talk Vietnam.
Hi, Chi. Thank you so much for having us.
Let's explain the concept of Ăn Cỗ to our audience. Can you explain, first of all, how did you come up with that concept?
So, since I moved to New York, the curry scene there is so diverse and is very
a super crowded space with a ton of different cuisines you can choose from.
Right.
And there's really no shortage of options. But we continually heard people saying, you know, especially a lot of people that love Vietnamese food, I wish there were just more options, more and more and more and more. And so that kind of got us, started the conversation about, thinking about the potential of doing a pop-up series.
And then, there are a lot of Vietnamese restaurants in New York, but the diversity of Vietnamese food, right? From the north to the south, and then also the craftsmanship in, all of the dishes that we have that, people just don't know about, never heard of, right? It's not about, it's the flavors, it's the colors, but also the intention in every little details that people just don't have the platform to share to the world. So people are just okay, I love pho, I love banh mi, they love spring rolls, but why is it so good, right? It's so much labor and intention. So we just want to create kind of a platform to share all the little details, not just about the food, but also our beautiful culture.
Right. Yeah. Is it more challenging to do it in New York?
Definitely. It is so challenging. I think it's really it's hard from at the beginning to catch the attention from people. It's just because it's a crowded space, right? Everybody has their own voice, have their own mission, and it's the playground for people to come and just raise awareness about anything or have a mission that they want to share with the world. So it's hard for us to raise our voice, but I just feel from just believing in ourselves and believing in the mission and just doing something totally different, I think, and just be brave and just think that we have so much potential and we believe in the beautiful culture and we're just gonna put 1,000% everything we have into this, and I just believe that one day people will hear.
Yeah. And I think her passion is so contagious. You know, if you spend time with her and you're eating her food, you can just feel how passionate and driven she is to tell the story of Vietnam through the food. And so I think just speaking about it continuously on social media for her has brought in a beautiful audience. You know, it's ready to buy tickets and get excited and watch everything in advance and then to come and try her food.
Right. By the way, you can tell he's also my agent. Business partner, marketing agent, everything.
Yeah. Wow. Well, you're so lucky.
Thank you. I feel grateful every day.
Mỗi nhà thì đều sẽ có một cái menu nhất định, còn mỗi một lần làm ăn cỗ sẽ là menu khác nhau.
Rất là muốn New York hiểu sâu hơn về đồ ăn của Việt Nam, không chỉ là phở, không chỉ là bánh mì mà rất là phong phú, rất là khác biệt.
Wait 5 more minutes. Dạ, em đang làm cua rang me, công thức của bà nội em.
There's a level of anticipation, that builds between these events.
30 seconds.
Welcome Welcome to Angkor Volume 5. This time we're bringing you guys to the Mekong Delta. When you leave the event tonight, if you're not Vietnamese, I hope you learn something new about our food and culture. And if you're Vietnamese, I hope I'll bring you closer to home. So enjoy the show and have fun dining.
Thank you.
Well, let's get to the first dish. So this is our ất chuối ram. ất chuối ram means frog hiding in the grass. We wanted to do it in a bit of a bed of lemongrass. So the fried lemongrass will give it a little bit of extra flavor.
Ăn Cỗ, a familiar gathering tradition in every Vietnamese family, has evolved beyond an ordinary meal to become a captivating culinary art experience in New York City. Unlike traditional restaurants, Ăn Cỗ is organized by theme, introducing unique specialties from different regions of Vietnam. The theme for Ăn Cỗ Volume 5 is Mekong Delta. These dishes are not only visually stunning and flavorful, but also serve as cultural storytellers.
It was really this dinner series that inspired my desire to visit Vietnam. You know, I feel like I've had a little taste of different regions in this experience, and it's awakened in me an interest to learn more about the places that created these central experiences.
At the heart of Tu Pham's Ăn Cỗ is a commitment to offering a genuine, meaningful experience of Vietnamese cuisine, not just serving food in bulk. This Ăn Cỗ is intentionally divided into 2 intimate servings. This thoughtful structure allows the team to focus on flavor and presentation, so that every bite carries the spirit of Vietnam, just as it would in a traditional family feast back home.
Đúng cái tên của Ăn Cỗ của New York. Ăn Cỗ là một cái niềm hạnh phúc của cộng đồng Việt Nam ở New York. Bạn Thư và bạn Taylor đem tới sự hãnh diện cho cộng đồng để giới thiệu cho cộng đồng New York về văn hóa của mình. Mình được ăn ở Ăn Cỗ thì nó rất là đậm đà mùi vị quê hương.
You mentioned that being different is very important. So tell me, what kind of difference you want to make and to have people know about Vietnamese culture and cuisine?
I think that because we don't have a restaurant, so we just don't have, like, let's say, like a fix of anything, right? Like cost structure, we don't have a fixed like location, menu, a theme, or like even a team, right? So we're very flexible with what we want to do and what we want to communicate. And from the beginning, I asked myself that question too, that like there is so much about Vietnamese cuisine and culture, right? Like what do I choose to share? Like how can I communicate everything I want? How can I share like my culture to the people? But then I realized that like because it's like a pop-up series and we don't have like a fix of anything, so we can come to people when we have a message that we want to communicate, when we are ready to like with like things that we want to show. So we were like, okay, so this time we're choosing like a region, like with this beautiful, you know, features from that region, the people, we have the stories. We pick like the like beautiful tradition elements from that like region, the craftsmanship of like, let's say there any craft or a dessert that like people just never heard of, I've never seen of, right? And then we would choose to highlight that region. And it's just different from time to time, and that's how we do it, you know? So like...
It's a huge like research process up front. You know, like when we were living in Vietnam together, we met in Vietnam and, you know, fell in love in Vietnam, and so much of our relationship was defined by eating. And like, there's just so much we want to tell. It takes a long time to distill it down into a few dishes. So it feels like we're just scratching the surface on what's out there.
How do you think this concept is different from other concepts other Vietnamese restaurants in New York has been offering to diners?
We built this from the ground up based on who we are as people. And, you know, what do we love, like especially between the two of us together, not just independently, but together? What do we love the most? We love storytelling about culture and history about Vietnam. Two loves like learning new handicrafts from like the traditions of Vietnam, the ancient past of Vietnam, and Two Loves finding different interesting regional things together. And so we felt like if we built it from the ground up based on what we love, then it'll just in the end kind of naturally be different. Right. And that's kind of how it turned out, because when you see some of her carvings and like her food art, like it's totally different than what you'll find anywhere else. It's just not something that is even practiced at large scale in the US. And so people, I think, the diners, they want to not just like have the food, but also to learn something and experience something like about Vietnamese traditional culture and cuisine. So that's why every dinner she'll feature some sort of like fine handcraft cultural art that they can interact with, play with, and eat. So I think that's like just ended up creating something very, very different, like an experiential event.
And like, I already told myself from the very beginning that this is a passion project, meaning that it's like a non-profit, project that, like, I just want to do this because this means so much to me. I grew up in a restaurant where I see my parents, like, work really hard, and they just love food, and I grew up with food, and like moving to a different country, I just feel like this is my mission to tell people how beautiful, my culture is and like the cuisine is, especially when I'm in New York and, like the playground is very crowded and I see like Korean food, I see, like Japanese food, Chinese food, like Asian food is so strong and people have like a lot of interest in like, Asian food now is a trend right now, but like somehow I see Vietnamese food is missing on the market. And I think that like people just don't know how painstakingly, hard and time-consuming it is, and people just think like, oh, it's a quick bite, it's like comfort food, it's a quick bite. They don't see the art or like, like the craftsmanship in like all of the ancient desserts, right? Or like in like bánh in, right? Or like what else, like
bánh màu Pháp
like
Lam.
Bánh màu Pháp Lam, all of the Huế, desserts. So I'm like, okay, let's show people like, what real Vietnamese cuisine is. And because it's a like passion project, so I already was like, okay, I don't care about the profit, I just don't want to lose money, and I can just put 1,000 hours into doing this, and that would just make me so happy to see people actually enjoy it.
Love and heart is even not enough to say what she puts into it, because when we put on these events, 500 portions, 5 courses, 100 people, 500 portions, 2 seatings, it's all cooked by her out of our 1-2-bedroom apartment in New York, and she's really doing it all because it's so meticulous that she just has to be the one. So at the end, you get something that like just has her DNA like into every dish.
The pioneering creativity in transforming regional specialties into high-class culinary experiences is what has made Two Femmes en Cô a sold-out success. By selecting dishes that are rarely seen in popular restaurants, An Cô has become a sensation in a city brimming with culinary choices. What sets An Cô apart is how it resonates not only with diners, but also with professionals in the industry.
What I love about New York and the Vietnamese community is the next generation of restaurateurs, chefs, and pop-up is like the perfect platform for this to occur. And To Buster and Taylor with An Cô has been something that we've been big fans of since the beginning. Yeah, from like a restaurant, bar to pop-up, I think this is where you can be very ambitious with the menu, where you can have a more intimate setting, where you can do curation of like the dishes. You can see tonight they really take the time to tell the story of the origin of the dish, of like how it incepted. So it's a very more intimate setting.
I love working with her. She's just really talented and kind, but also being introduced to all this Vietnamese food that I've never had before. So different techniques, different ingredients, it's an incredible opportunity to see that.
Tu is truly the mastermind, and she just has an idea, and it's just about getting that idea to happen. She wanted them to feel substantial. We actually cut all the wood pieces, sanded them, and cut all the paper for them and put them on, glued them together. And total probably took about 16 hours just for the plate for the dessert. Whatever she wants, we just make it happen.
Share with me one example of a dish that, received a lot of comments or surprise or reaction from your diners?
Some mornings she'll wake up with this like very creative idea, and I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? So one morning she wakes up, she's like, I want to do a tasting flight of bánh mì Tây, like all the Western Vietnamese desserts.
Right.
And I want it to be colorful, I want it to be artistic, I want it to be on a board, and it's all gonna come out with like design elements and everything. I'm like, okay, like wood, cutting wood, sourcing wood, you know, slicing, okay, paper. So she ended up making this like, you know, board that we had to measure every centimeter down to like the very fine details, what's going to be on it compositionally, artistically, colorfully, how's it going to fit on the table that we are going to rent.
Right.
But, you know, we had this vision of, even from, you know, the very beginning, her lining up all the boards together and then placing all the desserts that like match colorfully with the paper underneath it, so that it really fits as a cohesive element. And so right before, when it was time for the plating, I told all the people that were there, I said, now is a really good time. If you want to leave your seat, come over and watch her actually plate. And you can see an incredible process. And that, I think, really like blew them away.
How did an idea come to you? It's like you miss home and then in your dream you dreamt of bánh mì Tây, or I mean, how did you come up with that?
I think that like, so let's say like from the beginning, right, of like a concept or of that theme, right, I would pick, okay, I want to, how do I represent all of the diversity of, you know, all of the Minh Tây desserts, because there are so many, how can you pick? And like, I'm so indecisive about picking a dish because I want to highlight everything. And also, even if I do 5 different kinds of like Minh Tây desserts, it's not enough, because if you've been to Minh Tây, you see the colors there. You see like the
Very
fruit
vibrant.
markets is beautiful, and how do I represent that? So I was like, okay, how do I bring Minh Tây market on a dessert course so people can actually kind of use their imagination and transport to Minh Tây. So I had the idea from like the ceramic tiles, you know, like all of the patterns and the beautiful colors on that. And then you've seen that at like a lot of like houses, you know, in the Mekong Delta. I was like, okay, how about I do that, and then have the desserts on the boards, and then it just kind of like represent, you know, colors of like Minh Tây, and then just incorporate with like all of the Minh Tây desserts, and yeah, that's how I came up with it.
To cook Vietnamese food, you need Vietnamese ingredients, or you know, ingredients, herbs, or from Vietnam. So how did you select and should I say import the stuff from Vietnam for your event?
Like we try to like maximize what we have with the ingredients there, and like, you know, like import, like just fly things from Florida, you know, like we have the same climate there, or we have family in Houston that can send me stuff like some herbs, you know, like that I cannot, like perilla, that I like could not get a lot of like big quantity in New York. And then I have my mom here that would just source stuff here for me and send like some spices like mắc khén, hạt dổi, you know, like those.
Friends in Huế.
And then I have friends in Huế and like Hội An that like source and send me cao lầu, you know. So that's why it takes a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the most difficult ingredient that you were able to buy or purchase in the U.S.?
There's been, well, we try to do one like star ingredient for each event. I don't know, what do you think is really, like mung was really hard.
Yeah, we were trying to source the like củ hủ dừa.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh yeah, it's a
fresh sprout.
Yeah, of the banana, of the coconut tree, like palm tree. Yeah, coconut tree. So it's like a very popular ingredients from Minh Tây.
Yeah,
it's like impossible to find in the U.S. too.
Right.
Yeah, so like, see, that's why I feel like Vietnamese cuisine is so amazing and so diverse. Even like, you know, like you don't know like some ingredients, and I don't know a lot of ingredients from the north as well, you know. So that's why I feel like it's so beautiful. How can we show all that to people in the world? Yeah,
and there's still a lot there to be discovered.
Tham Booser is a Vietnamese-born chef, food stylist, and culinary artist based in New York City. Raised in Ho Chi Minh City within her family's restaurant, she developed a deep appreciation for Vietnamese cuisine. Her journey took a transformative turn after studying advertising. Tu pursued her culinary passion at Le Cordon Bleu in Spain. After moving to New York, her talent quickly garnered recognition, leading to collaborations with prestigious publications such as the New York Times and Bon Appetit. The shimmering pearl-adorned bánh chông and the vibrant, artfully crafted bánh mì are some of Tu's unique artworks. Through her hands, each dish transforms into more than just a meal. It becomes a work of art, infused with the rich history, culture, and spirit of Vietnam.
Khi mà mình làm được một cái món Việt Nam, mình style được một cái món Việt Nam mà ở trên báo chí, tạp chí ở bên đây á, thì mình cảm thấy rất là tự hào. Nhưng mà mình lâu lắm mình mới có thấy một món thì mình cảm thấy là tại sao lại như vậy. Cho nên là mình cảm thấy là có cái trách nhiệm để mà đóng góp vào cho nền văn hóa của nước nhà. Giống như là kho báu mà mình có thể khai thác hoài mà nó không hết.
Thu is the most passionate person I've ever met in my entire life. She never does anything half-half. She always goes full 100%. Nhiều người chef ở đây là từ Michelin 1 sao, 2 sao, 3 sao. Nhưng mà người ta theo Thư. Tại vì người ta thấy cái passion, cái đam mê của Thư là như thế nào. Tại vì người ta nói là if you make it here, you make it anywhere. Cái vision của Việt Nam ở New York là phải thành công. Mình rất là tin vào cái mission đó.
Tu, your background is a food stylist, right? Now, why did you pick that as a career?
Yeah, I was born into like a restaurant, so like my family used to have a restaurant, so they're all like amazing chefs. So I grew up with like food, seeing my mom always like cooking, developing recipes, like doing like, you know, like crafty things in food with food, like what do you got
like carvings.
Oh, carvings. Yeah, like do all the carvings. So it's like really inspiring to me. So I always want to.
It's funny, you said the Vietnamese word to Taylor.
I know.
And he helped you with the English.
I know, right? It's so funny. I feel like sometimes, like, I think because we've been together for so long, and I've probably say that word a million times. So I was like, okay, what's that word? He was like, okay, I know. I know. That's so
We're
cute.
used to Vietnglish at home, so like water just flows. Whatever word we know, we say.
Yeah, so like back to that question, but my mom, like, of course, like, want me to do something else. Like, she never wanted me to go back into the kitchen because for her, that's really hard work. And I think it breaks her heart, like, seeing me have to work so hard, you know. So like I went to, you know, college, and I like graduated, did
what
marketing.
Did you study?
I studied professional communications. Yeah, so then like advertising, and then like did like some shows for a bit. Also like shows about food and like ads about food. So that's how I fell in love with like the preparation of food for TV. And then when I moved to the States, I realized that like the food that you see on TV are not made by chefs. It's all made by food stylists. Like you see like a chef or like somebody like, you know, like cooking a show, or like all the like beautiful food on advertising, like TV commercials, movies are all made by food stylists.
Wow.
I'm prepared by the food stylist. So I was like, okay, that's what I want to do. And also I realized that like media is also the fastest way to bring, you know, raise awareness about Vietnamese food and like bring attention. So I was like, I want to get in there. Like that's the only way, not the only way, but like one of the ways for me to raise awareness about Vietnamese food, and that's how I started.
So you actually come up with idea how the food should look like, right? So how does that help you to with Anh Cổ?
It definitely like we play and go into our my strength, right? With like you know, like doing food like beautifully and like in a design way, and like with all the compositions, and like to be very creative with it.
While still being like very Vietnamese in all the ingredients.
Right, yeah.
So there's two things here, the taste and the look. So, I mean, how do you find the balance between those two, and what do you think is more important?
Okay, so to be honest, I think Vietnamese food done right is already beautiful, right? You know, it's already like Vietnamese food is so colorful and is so beautiful. I think that like just with some like final touch, it can look like more intentional or like flowy or artistic, or like the composition, just like how you compose like each elements on a plate will just change the whole look. But like I just like it's not me from like inventing something, you know, from the ground up, right? It's like all there. I'm just like the person that convey the message, and also like try to level up the dish and give it out to the people.
New York City, home to just around 10,000 Vietnamese residents, may not be known for a large Vietnamese population, but it has become fertile ground for the quiet rise of Vietnamese cuisine. From fewer than a handful of small eateries in 2019, the city now boasts nearly 30 Vietnamese restaurants, each bringing a new dimension to how Vietnamese food is understood and appreciated.
One of the ways that the Vietnamese community has really expressed itself in New York is through the culinary avenue. From just a handful of notable spots back in the New Yorkers can try Vietnamese food of all different types and regions now in the city like never before.
Unique about New York is you have many people coming from either Viet Kieu, Vietnamese Americans, or Người Việt, and I think also mostly being younger demographic. You do see this intersection of innovation, because we're all coming together with different backgrounds, but with a shared commonality, which is our love of Vietnamese food and cuisine, and ultimately culture.
Contributing to this vibrant growth is a wave of young Vietnamese creatives. Tu Pham and her dining series Ăn Cỗ have left an unmistakable mark. In doing so, Tu is not simply cooking, she's helping shape a new chapter of Vietnamese culinary identity in America.
I heard you mention Ăn Cỗ 1, 2, 3, and so now it's Ăn Cỗ 6, right?
Yes.
So have you thought of like new theme or new name maybe?
I think that like it will always be Ăn Cỗ, but it could be Ăn Cỗ 2.0, you know, like something else. Like, because like from the beginning, we have 10 visions of Vietnam, like 10 regions, 10 visions that we want to bring to the people. But after this series, we will incorporate in some new elements, maybe like, let's say like theater, right? Let's make it like a music, make it a platform to lift up other, you know, Viet artists and just like bring more onto the table. It's not just food, but like more like different aspects of art in Vietnamese culture.
We're really limited right now based on a lot of factors. Like for example, time. We both have full-time jobs. Budget. We don't want to charge more than we charge right now because we don't want to attract a different customer group. You know, for example, these are very young, early career professionals that want to come and enjoy. We want them to be like young and vibrant and fun, or at least just super interested in like trying something different. And so with that limitation, there's only so much we can do. But we have really big visions about doing this experiential event, you know, where why can't you have people come in to the event, move throughout the space and in different ways and experience different parts of Vietnamese culture. And as they come back, maybe the space is transformed or different in some way, and make it less, you know, tied to a certain like time and budget, and more flexible and exciting.
I see. You said you two both have a full-time job. What do you do?
So like I'm like a food stylist, so I would be on set, you know, like a lot of days of the
Every
week.
day.
Yeah, if I'm not like on set, I would be like prepping for that job.
Okay.
And it's very demanding. Like sometimes I would, you know, be on set from like 7 a.m. to like 9 p.m.
Wow.
So it's like really intense. And what you do?
Well, I work in management consulting, so especially in innovation projects, new technologies, things that we've never done before. So I think that's a good translation to help her out too, because I never have the same project twice.
Okay.
Like I'm always bringing something new and different. So I think it's helped me adapt to as she comes in with a new request. Like, how do I set that up? How do I develop a team that can execute that?
How did you find time to do all of the things that you did?
I honestly think that's why every uncle like would take 3 months. You know what I'm saying? It's just because like I wish that like
a lot of commitment.
Exactly. I wish that we could do it within a month, and every month could be like, you know, a different uncle. But like with what we're doing right now and the capacity, that's what we can offer. You know, so maybe in the future we just hope that like maybe we can take this into, you know, a different stage and like do like for-profit instead of non-profit. So we can like do more, right? Yeah.
It helps to be passionate, and you know, I see her coming back from work dead tired, but she's excited. And so what does she do? She starts sitting down, like cutting things, trimming things, making things, cooking things, thinking about things. And it also helps that like all my senior vice presidents and stuff at my company love Anko. They've been to the event, they know it, they understand. And so when it becomes like, you know, Anko season, that they're like, okay, you know, you can take your time.
Okay, so I want to learn more about your love story. How did you guys meet?
I actually interviewed him for a job.
Yeah?
For a project I was working on at the time. We were looking for a foreigner that can speak Vietnamese fluently, and then he happened to be very good at that. So like, we met up for a chat and kind of like interviewed him, and then I tested his Vietnamese a little bit. And
well, it was very intimidating, you know. She's a tough boss, you know. So when she was like, "Okay, well, I hear you speak Vietnamese. Speak some Vietnamese." Like, oh my gosh, what do I say? You know. But we had a really great conversation in Vietnamese, and I felt like we connected super well with that first interview, and it was like super fast. Like I want to say, from like date to engaged and then to married was like just in a couple years.
At the heart of An Co is not just a passion for food and culture, but a love story rooted in mutual respect, learning, and shared purpose. Taylor's love for Tu naturally extended to her culture. Through her, he discovered the depth and richness of Vietnamese cuisine, developed an impressive command of the Vietnamese language, and immersed himself in traditions that now shape both their personal and professional lives.
Ra là mình ở nơi nào mình cũng nhớ là mình yêu Việt Nam, mà muốn khám phá, muốn người ta hiểu sâu hơn về Việt Nam, thì con đường nào mà Taylor với Thư chọn là phải có đam mê, và cái sự đam mê lớn nhất giữa hai người đó là ẩm thực Việt Nam, chắc chắn. Ví dụ ăn cổ là mình phải kể câu chuyện cho người ta nghe, hiểu về gia đình của Thư, ẩm thực Việt Nam, lịch sử của Việt Nam.
Thật ra mình cảm thấy mình là một cái người rất là may mắn để có được một cái người bạn đồng hành. Chồng của mình, ảnh rất là mê văn hóa Việt Nam, mê ẩm thực Việt Nam, mê con người Việt Nam. Mình tưởng kiếp trước ảnh là người Việt luôn á. Và nếu mà không có yêu Việt Nam, không có yêu cái văn hóa của mình thì ăn cổ vẫn chỉ là concept thôi, chứ nó không thể nào mà hiện thực hóa được.
brought you to Vietnam in the first place?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Seattle, right? And I knew I didn't want to stay in Seattle. I knew that I wanted to have a career abroad. I mean, I'd known that since I was like 3 or 4 years old. My mom just like knew it.
Yeah.
You know, she was like very aware that I loved languages, culture, food. You know, every year I wanted to go to a different cuisine for my birthday. And when I graduated, all I wanted to do was just find a job somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I had lived in Greece already by that point. I'd started living in India as well. I had a beautiful time, but I didn't want to live in India. And I just knew one friend back from when we lived together in Greece. And he was like, well, just come through Vietnam, just see what you think.
Yeah.
And this was in 2012. I came, and within like hours of arriving, I was like, this is the place.
Why?
So I remember.
How did you know?
I knew because he took me to this one place, and it was a Minga place, a Minga restaurant. And the food was incredible. The drinks were incredible. The tea, like the iced tea that it comes with a little ice, and I was like, we passed 50 places just from your house to this spot.
Yeah.
50 places. And I've never seen any of those things before. So I felt like I was just tapping into the surface of this really deep well that was just full of exciting things to discover. And I just immediately connected with it. So it was the food, basically.
I think we share the same fascination for like Vietnamese culture and cuisine. To be honest, like I was born and raised in Vietnam, but I still find it like so fascinating, you know, like every day walking on the street and see like, oh my gosh, like 100 food stalls on like one street, right? And then I was like, oh my gosh, and the world just maybe does not know about this. So, you know,
people are so friendly. Like I was so annoying. I just went up to every single person, not speaking any Vietnamese, and I was like, what's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? But they were so patient.
Yeah, that's how you learned.
That's how I learned. And people, you know, I would just ask them a million questions. But I think like Vietnamese people are super proud about their food and their language. And so when foreigners come and they ask questions, they're so patient to answer that I never felt like I was a burden or anything like that. And it was just like I learned super quick.
Yeah, yeah. You two have been featured on different magazines and newspapers, for example, the New York Times and Bon Appetit. So how did you feel about that, and what message you want to highlight in you know, those articles?
I definitely feel really proud, and I feel like it's just proof to myself that like, right, if you believe in yourself and if you keep trying and you just don't stop and never give up, like you will get there. Even if you just don't arrive to the destination that you want, like the next day you are already like closer, right, you know, like to the destination than yesterday. So I feel very proud, and also I kind of achieved the goal that I put out to myself at the beginning, is like to get on the media so I can share, you know, more about, you know, Vietnamese culture and Vietnamese food and raise more awareness. Yeah, so it really means a lot. Yeah.
Well, I think whatever you do, I wish you success, and I know that you have a mission for yourself to promote and elevate Vietnamese culture, raise the awareness of Vietnamese culture to the world. And I think with Taylor, you two would, you know, you have been doing it beautifully. So I wish you, you know, success in the future for your future projects.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Through Ăn Cỗ, Tu and Taylor have created more than just a dining experience. They've built a bridge between cultures, inviting New Yorkers to explore the rich culture of Vietnamese cuisine and traditions. We hope this episode has inspired you to explore the world of Vietnamese cuisine and perhaps even beyond your familiar favorites. Whether you are in New York or elsewhere, keep an eye out for innovative culinary experience like Ăn Cỗ that bring the world to your table. Thank you for watching, and remember, every meal is an opportunity for a new adventure. Goodbye.